So this is a brief video I'm recording to demonstrate the approach to kapalabhati that I teach. It consists of three distinct parts, the first being preparation, the second being the actual pumping of the kapalabhati action, and the third being some final bandha action that we do at the end. A couple of notes about what this is not about and what it is about. For me, this exercise is not about how quickly you can go, how hard you can push, how much air you can expel from your lungs. It's about how well you can create a connection between what's going on at the base of your breathing system and what's going on at the top. In other words, from the foundation of this exercise, which involves a contraction of the lower abdominal muscles and the pelvic diaphragm, we want to create a pulse, a movement, a sensation of upward movement that travels straight up and reaches the crown of the head, the skull, the kapala. So what the exercise is really about for me is the space in the system that we create in which we can sense this movement. And the downward movement is just as important as the upward movement. The upward movement is the exhale, and then the inhale is a passive release of that contraction that allows the viscera to drop back down to the starting place so that you can get to the next contraction. So the image I use is that of tossing a ball upward. It's launched from my pelvic floor, it travels up, it bounces off the inside of my skull, and it falls back down. I have to wait for it to fall back down until I toss it back up again. So, more like that speed. So, to begin, the preparation involves how you can manage to get your rib cage up and lifted, and this circumference of your lower ribs widened, and keep them there so that you're isolating the contraction down here. You don't want to let it creep in up here, because then you're going to get into the squeeze in, push down, downward apana action. This is all about upward apana for the exhale. So we can do this kind of movement with the arms, where the arms are lifting along with the rib cage, just to warm up a bit and prepare. And then at the end of one of these deep breaths, I hold that inhale, I hold that lifted rib cage position, but I drop and release my arms and shoulders. From there, without letting my ribs drop, I find this region below my navel, and I exhale from there. For some people, it will make more sense to have the hands here to monitor what the lower ribs are doing. You want to be able to keep them elevated as the belly is contracting and releasing without them yanking inward. For some people, it will make more sense to have the hands here to feel what the lower belly is doing. For some people, you can have one hand here and one hand here. So you can sort of do both. Whatever it is, the action is to keep this lifted and keep this isolated. If I need to stop, pause, reset to maintain the quality of what I'm doing, that's perfectly fine. It's desirable. The quality of what you're doing, the space through which the exercise is moving, is more important than how many you do. The other thing is, no ujjayi. Keep the throat relaxed and open. If you're constricting the throat with ujjayi or valving it in any way, the upward pulse you're creating can't reach your skull. It will be blocked by the throat. done with the pumpings, I let the exhale out. I take a relaxed inhale, and this starts the third phase with the bandhas. Then it's a deeper exhale. Lower belly engages, rib cage drops, I squeeze, my lungs empty, my chin drops towards the top of my sternum. I hold the breath out, and without inhaling, I first lift the tip of my tongue up and back. That lifts the throat region, the sternum, the lower ribs, the lower belly will naturally migrate upward. This is all 4 bandhas here at the end of that exhale. And then I open the valve to let the in-breath in. And then I close the valve and I hold that breath. That's an internal retention. I can choose at this point to let my head float free, to find support on my neck, or maintain the chin lock. That's up to you, whatever works best for you. When I'm holding that internal retention, I can imagine relaxing any extraneous postural engagement of my muscles, because I've actually created support through my spine and through my cavities by holding that in-breath. So I can relax anything around that is not needed to hold me up. And then, of course, I breathe. I just release the breath. Sit quietly for a bit, observing the breath. It's traditional to do 3 rounds of this. That's not obligatory. Again, the quality of what you're doing is far more important than the quantity. So now I'll just go through the whole thing without talking, just to show a cycle of all 3 stages. And that's the kapalabhati. Thank you.